Mr. Zarin Khan, the President of Fiji Institute of Accountants, members of the Fiji Institute of Accountants, invited guests, lots of ladies and only 2 men. And I'm really delighted to be here today to talk to you about women in leadership. When I was asked to officiate at this function, I immediately agreed because it's always a pleasure to celebrate the success of other women and also to be part of a forum where women issues are discussed. We are different. We have to accept that. We have got a lot more roles to play. We are not just executive women who just roll out of the bed and the dinner or breakfast is already done for you. We have to prepare our own meals. We have to juggle with our children. We have to also look after our extended family. Then we come to the office. And then, of course, the work is waiting for you. So that makes us different. And we cannot tell our children that today I'm not cooking your food because I'm too tired. That doesn't happen. We become mothers. We are born in an innate manner that we have got these womanly values and passion in us. So I'm delighted to be in a room full of ladies. And I'm so excited to see some successful women sitting here in this room. Ladies, and only few gentlemen, gender issues such as pay parity, discrimination, and the sheer low number of women in boards and committees, including parliament, as head of organization, are still debates that attracts everyone's attention. We love talking about this issue that we are minority, but what are we doing about it? So how can we turn the situation around to close the gap? And what can organization do to narrow the gap and encourage more women to take up leadership roles? I know there's a lot of struggle, there are a lot of organizations that are working in that area, but still we are not able to make that number. So that means that there is something not ticking well. There is a problem somewhere that we are not able to correctly identify and fix it. Now, as an organization, we all know that the Fiji Institute of Accountants have taken the step to launch Women in Leadership series with the aim to promote women in leadership roles. FIA will provide a platform for women to come together, to listen, to interact, share their experiences and journey. Sometimes we women, we need this platform. We need to ask one another, how did you do it? How did you succeed? How did you overcome these problems? We need to talk about it. I remember going to Netherlands for my master's degree, already married with 3 kids. My younger son was 10 years old, and I had to leave the home for 2 years. That was not an easy journey, but I had to make the decision. I couldn't make it alone. I had to make this decision with the help of other family members. I had to find out from my mother, will she be able to look after my kids? I had to find out from my father-in-law, will he be home continuously looking after the children? These are all difficult decisions. But today, I feel good that I made the decision. Sometimes we are not able to make the decision. You agree with me? Because we, as women, we find comfort. After a hard day's work, we are at home, we are surrounded by our children, and we are all happy. But we have to strive better. We have to work harder. There is no such thing as things coming to you on a silver platter, unfortunately, because we are not good at networking. After a hard day's work, we just go home. Why? Because the kitchen is waiting for us. What happens with men? They're able to stay longer, they're able to network, they're able to connect with one another because they have nothing to worry. The woman is at home. Yes, they will go home and help, But women take control of the kitchen, they take control of the house. So that makes us very different. And at this juncture, I want to also share a story with you. When it came for me to make a decision whether I wanted to stand for politics or not, I always felt that I did not want to join politics. That's the decision I made for a very long time. Who encouraged me to join politics? Not a woman. Again, it was a man. My male colleagues came forward and said, look, you have got these skills, you have got this experience, you've got this knowledge, you've been advocating from outside, you're pushing the issues for the government to look into it. How about you be there to do it? And that did sink into me. But again, being a woman, it's not easy to say, yes, I'll join politics. You still have to go home, talk to your family, talk to your husband, talk to your children, come to an agreement that yes, okay, yep, I'll join. But I must say that another important thing, we always celebrate women who succeed. But as women, we do not stand up for these women. This is the sad part. We talk about sisterhood. Where is our sisterhood? When other women get into trouble, we just sit quiet, we watch. We don't utter a word. And I want to share with you today, particularly one of the women MPs. She's going through a rough patch. No fault of hers. If the husband gets into drug, that doesn't mean that she was involved. That doesn't mean her children are involved. But she's been vilified, her children are being vilified. And who are they? All three women. And as women organization, women NGO, unfortunately, none of them got up to defend them. Is this fair? And that could be one of the reasons why women are not taking leadership role. That's why. Because they don't know how to deal with such situation. We back off. And it's really sad that as women's group, we need to stand up for one another. For right reasons, not for wrong reasons. I will not encourage you for that. When I stood for the election, you wouldn't believe it, people that I had dinner with, these are women. People I had coffee with, these are women. I did not get a phone call just to say, how you doing? How's your campaign? Nothing. And then again, when the results comes out, I'm getting all these calls from the women. Congratulations. I'm not saying that you have to vote for me, but at that time you need a shoulder, right? But as women, we did not stand for one another. So I'm speaking my mind today. If we want to progress in life, we start with women first. Stop accusing the men. Yes, there are problems at workplaces, which I acknowledge. I've also gone through discrimination at workplace. But to push a woman into leadership role, it has to come from women themselves. And other women can be the support group. And in my life, I always acknowledge 3 men in my life. And now I should say 4 men. My father, my father-in-law, my husband, and now my 2 boys. When it came to election, previously they were not supporting me. But 2018, they did. So they're now added into my list of 4 men who have been helping me to achieve what I want to achieve. So these are the things that I just decided to go off cuff and just talk to you about it. But let's look at what FIA is doing. I'm told that in 1995, FIA had a total of 424 financial members. 84% were men, 16% were women. By 2007, women accounted for 31%. And today, I'm pleased to inform you that the number has increased to 38%. This is a growth of approximately 1% per annum over the past 24 years. Slowly but surely, women participation has increased, which is why it is important to celebrate women in leadership. And I would like to see the number go further higher in terms of executive positions. So this is the challenge for the women. How many of you are going to put your hand up and say, yes, yes, I want to be there? It has to come from you. Don't think somebody will come and say, you know what, I'm going to appoint you as the executive members. It hardly happens. Believe me, it hardly happens. So for this inaugural event, the week of 4 to 8 March was chosen, and this was done for a purpose. As we all know, it coincides with International Women's Day, which is celebrated on 8th of March every year. I'm also aware there are many institutions who will be organizing such event throughout the week, and I already received about more than 6 invitations. And I appreciate and would like to say thank you to FIA for joining the rest of them in launching the milestone event, which is Women in Leadership. I note with pride the logo for the Women in Leadership as well, which outlines a strong woman reaching to touch the skies. And the use of the color purple. Again, purples represent the visionary thinking and achievements gained as well as achievements to come. It's my personal belief, and I personally believe we must celebrate the fact that there is realization that there is gender disparity, and every effort is being made by all stakeholders to promote women as leaders. And it is seen through various government policies, private sector initiatives, and civil society action. So everyone is working towards that. So if everyone is working towards that, how come we are not able to achieve that number? I think we need to diagnose the problem in a much clearer way so that we know the root cause of the problem, and we have to address that. As a policymaker, I always believe that the first step to get a policy changed is awareness. And I think there is enough awareness about gender disparity. So we have succeeded that, so that's a tick. Second step is where you no longer speak about the issue, but other organizations start speaking the same language. That has started happening as well. And today, Fiji Institute of Accountants are talking the same language, so that's an achievement again. But again, the challenge is why the numbers are not showing what we want to see. So how can we change that? You know, some of us may think that when we talk about gender, it's just about the workforce place and maybe some of the policies that we have at our workplace that will push the change. But the reality is, gender is a critical dimension, even in parliamentary scrutiny. Some of you may not know that there is Standing Orders 110, subsection 2, which stipulates, and let me quote this for you, the committee shall ensure full consideration is given to the principles of gender equality to ensure all matters are considered with regards to the impact and benefit on both men and women equally. Now, what does this mean? Again, when the Parliamentary Standing Committee, when they sit to scrutinize annual reports, they always ask for a breakdown to encourage breakdown of male and female, and this is done to encourage employers to narrow the gap. When the bills are introduced in the Parliament, again, the Standing Committee, they have to look at the impact of that particular bill on gender. How that bill will impact women, how will that bill impact men, so that women are not left on the side. This is at the highest authority where legislations are made. Now let's look at how Fiji is doing in promoting women in leadership roles in comparison to the global statistics. Now, according to 2018 annual Global Gender Gap Report that tracks gender gaps and disparities around the world found that when it comes to political and economic leadership, the world still has a long way to go. So for Fiji, we are actually not alone. We are just like the rest of the world. We are still struggling. And unfortunately, when we look at the statistics for the World Global Report, we are below the average. We need to at least go above the average. Across the 149 countries assessed, there are just 17 that currently have women as heads of state, while on average, just 18% of ministers and 23.6% of parliamentarians globally are women. Similarly, women hold just 34% of managerial positions across the countries where data was available. So you can see even globally we're not doing good. In Fiji, a total of, let me talk about politics here and parliament. In Fiji, a total of 44 women and 205 men ran in the 2014 election. Women won only 8 seats out of 50 seats in parliament. That is 16% of parliament were represented by women. In 2018 election, a total of 56 women and 235 men stood for the election. For the first time, women representation in parliament increased by 4%, resulting in 20% women MPs. This is the best result we have achieved so far. This is the best result. And I personally feel that we have to do better than this. 20% is nothing as compared to New Zealand, where they have got over 45% women MPs in the parliament. Sorry, 44 women MPs in the parliament. Now let's look at women in leadership roles at local government, my ministry. I thought I should share this with you. And this is the latest result I have. There are less than 15% of women working for local government. That is 207 women out of 1,366 employed at local government. And then we have only one woman CEO, and she is the CEO of Lemhi Town Council. Certainly there is a room to narrow this gender gap. And unfortunately, when we look at these women who are employed at local government or at municipalities, they're actually involved in admin, tea making, clerical work. When will they get senior positions? How can we improve that more women get senior positions? There are less than 32% of women who hold senior positions. So we need to change the dynamics here. So I hope that today you'll get a little bit time after our panel discussion to network. And I hope the women, successful women sitting around the table, you'll be able to encourage the younger ones, and you'll be able to take the younger ones so that you can mentor them and groom them to take up leadership roles. I think for women, if I have to put the problems we have as women, number one on my list is confidence. We just don't have it. We always try and perfect ourselves. We want to be the best. We have got the knowledge. We've got the skills. We want to tick all the boxes. And when I became the CEO of Consumer Council, I marveled at men. They had no qualification, yet they put in the application. They had no experience, but they put in the application. Currently, I'm assessing the minister's support team. There are people who are working as, in a technical field like refrigeration. Guess what? They applied for the job. That's the level of guts we women must have, rather than sitting there and trying to perfect yourself, right? So just apply. And let me also tell you, for the women around this table, please note the CEO positions for all the municipal councils were advertised. I will encourage you to apply. So please do that. Okay, ladies, life is a journey. The path we take, what we look back on, and what we look forward to is actually up to us. We determine our destination, and you must believe in yourself if you want to take up leadership role. With these words, it now gives me great pleasure to officially launch FIA's first ever Women in Leadership series. I wish FIA and all of you the very best. And I also like to say a very happy International Women's Day in advance. And thank you for listening.